Into something really special, a guide to living a better life that's, believe it or not, 2,500 years old. And what's wild is just how much it still speaks to us today.
You ever just feel overwhelmed, by all the noise, all the chaos of the modern world? There's this phrase that keeps popping up, and it's so simple, but it says so much. We don't want war, we want Buddha. Now, that's not just some catchy slogan, right? It's this deep, deep yearning for peace, for a little bit of clarity in all the madness.
Well, that search for clarity is nothing new. For over 2,500 years, people looking for that exact thing have turned to the wisdom captured in one of the most beloved and, honestly, most accessible Buddhist texts ever put together.
So, let's get into it. What is this guide? Where did it come from? And what does its name even mean?
Okay, so the name itself, Dhammapada, is actually super meaningful. It comes from the ancient Pali language, and it basically translates to the path of Dhamma. Now, Dhamma is a huge concept, but you can think of it as the path of truth, of righteousness, kind of like the fundamental law of how the universe works. So this book is, quite literally, a guide to walking the path of truth.
So where does this little book fit into the grand scheme of things? Well, imagine the entire Buddhist scripture, the Tipitaka, as this massive library. Inside that library, you've got a whole section with the Buddha's discourses. And then, tucked away in that section, you find the Dhammapada. So it might be a small book in a huge library, but it's so cherished because it boils down all that big philosophy into these short, powerful, and totally unforgettable verses.
All right, so where does this whole journey even begin? According to the Dhammapada, the starting point for absolutely everything, your entire world, all of your experiences, is right here, inside your own mind.
I mean, the text comes right out of the gate with this pretty radical claim. It's not your circumstances, but your thoughts that create your reality. Your entire world, your happiness, your suffering, it's all founded on and made up of your thoughts. That idea is the bedrock for everything that follows. And this illustrates the two potential outcomes perfectly. It's just clear cause and effect. If you speak or act from a place of negativity, what it calls a defiled mind, then suffering is going to follow you around as surely as a cart's wheel follows the ox pulling it. But if you cultivate a pure mind, then happiness follows you just as reliably, like your own shadow. It never leaves.
And this whole mind-first principle extends right into how we deal with other people. The text is totally unambiguous here. You cannot fight fire with fire. Responding to hatred with more hatred just fuels the conflict. The only thing that can truly extinguish hatred is its complete opposite, love or goodwill. And I love this last part. It says, this is an old rule. Like, this isn't some new idea, it's an unshakable law of nature.
So all of this builds into the next core teaching. The Dhammapada lays out a very clear choice, presenting two distinct paths that we can choose to walk through life.
And it really just boils down to this. Are you going to be heedful, mindful, diligent, and paying attention to your thoughts and actions, or are you going to be heedless, neglectful, careless, and just swept away by every little impulse?
And get this, the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just some minor preference. The Dhammapada says that being heedful is the path to the deathless, to a kind of immortality or nirvana. But the heedless, those who live without awareness, it says they're as if already dead. Wow. It's like they're just sleepwalking through life, completely unaware of its true potential.
So the really crucial point here is that we have a say in the matter. Through diligence, through self-control, through this constant effort, this heedfulness, a wise person can create a refuge for themselves. The text uses this powerful image. They build an island that no flood of suffering can ever overwhelm. You get to carve out your own destiny. So if we choose this path of mindfulness, what does that kind of life actually feel like? The Dhammapada answers this not with some dry definition, but with a beautiful poetic metaphor.
It asks us to just think about the fragrance of something beautiful, like flowers or sandalwood. As amazing as they smell, that scent is limited. It can only travel where the wind carries it. It's bound by the laws of physics.
But here's the stunning contrast. The fragrance of a good person, their virtue, their integrity, their kindness, that's not limited by anything. It travels against the wind. The positive influence of a virtuous person spreads out in every single direction, unbound by any physical law. Their goodness has a limitless reach. So among all the possible fragrances in the world, sandalwood, lotus, jasmine, you name it, the Dhammapada is clear. The scent of virtue, the fragrance that comes from a good and wise life, is by far the most excellent of them all. That's the quality we should aspire to cultivate.
At the end of the day, the Dhammapada isn't just a book to be read and admired for its poetry. It's a practical guide. It's a path to be walked, a practice to be lived. And so it leaves every one of us with this fundamental question to think about in our own lives. The journey starts with a single thought, a single step. Which path will you choose to walk?